This edition of Primetime News, it took 12 Pacific Rim countries 5 years to finally reach a deal to reduce tariffs on some 18,000 categories. Now Korea is weighing its options to join in on the historic TPP Free Trade Pact. Looks like there will be back-to-back in-depth discussions on heavy topics including North Korea's nuclear ambitions as both U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Tony Blinken and IAEA Chief Yukiya Amano visits Seoul. And NATO issues a stern warning to Russia for violating Turkish airspace to conduct air raids on Syria. Moscow says its first intrusion on Saturday was an accident, yet turns around and does it again. All next on our newscast. Hello, welcome to Primetime News on this Tuesday, October 6th. I'm Daniel Choy.
And I'm Hwang Ji-hye. Thank you for joining us.
Trade negotiators have reached an agreement on what's considered the world's largest free trade pact. Why not? Because it accounts for 40% of the global economy.
Once ratified, the Trans-Pacific Partnership will remove trade barriers for 12 countries, including the U.S., Canada, and Japan. So how big a deal is the TPP? Kim Min-ji has our top story.
They're calling it a historic agreement. After 5 years of talks, trade negotiators from 12 countries have struck a deal that will reduce tariffs on almost 18,000 categories, ranging from automobiles to food, and set standards for labor and the environment in the trade bloc.
We have come to an agreement that will support jobs, drive sustainable growth, foster inclusive development, and promote innovation across the Asia-Pacific region.
The trade pact, called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, involves the U.S., Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, and 8 other Pacific Rim countries, which together account for about 40% of the global economy. It is the largest trade pact ever, making up for more than a quarter of the world's trade volume, and covers a combined population of almost 800 million. Supporters of the deal say the agreement will facilitate higher-paying jobs, as well as boost productivity and competitiveness, and raise living standards in member countries. Some also see it as a way to counter a rising China, which is not a member of the agreement, and paves a way to open new markets for American companies. However, critics have not been happy about the negotiations, which they say have been overly secretive in nature, and argue that the trade deal will benefit large corporations and shift more jobs overseas. Although the deal is being concluded, this is just the first step in what is likely to be a long road ahead as the participating countries take the deal back to their own governments for approval. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea is not part of the mega trade pact, though, but has reiterated its interest to be part of it soon.
Is it better late than never? Some fear being left out of the deal would erode the competitiveness of local manufacturers against their Japanese rivals. Shin Se-min has more.
The Korean government says it may join the Trans-Pacific Partnership soon, following the deal reached Monday. Korea's finance minister Choi Kyung-hwan said Seoul is in the midst of reviewing the possibility of joining the regional bloc that could become the world's single largest trading unit. But for now, Korea is not one of the 5 countries that are among the top 10 trading nations to have joined the TPP. And Korean exporters will have to bear the brunt of Korea's decision to not join the pact by losing competitiveness. Once the trade pact goes into effect, over 80% of the Japanese auto parts entering the U.S. market will see a large portion of existing tariffs lifted. Cheaper Japanese auto parts could give U.S. automobiles a leg up in the competition as well.
U.S. cars made with Japanese auto parts will see their prices drop, thereby becoming more competitive. Korean automobiles will be jammed between cheaper cars.
Aside from that, Korean firms involved in the oil, chemicals, and construction sectors could also be at a disadvantage. The Korea Institute for International Economic Policy predicts the country's annual trade balance will increase by up to $300 million and a production effect worth over $800 million should Korea join the TPP. But experts say the Korean government should weigh its options thoroughly, as the country already has trade pacts with 10 of the 12 TPP countries, with a number of other bilateral trade deals still pending.
Even if Korea decides to join the TPP, it can only participate so much, being a latecomer. So a thorough examination of current and future trade deals is crucial.
Experts say that being part of the regional bloc will ultimately be advantageous, helping Korea not only economically, but diplomatically, as a number of world powers are already part of the deal. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
The U.S. Deputy Secretary of State paid a visit to Seoul's foreign ministry in preparation of a summit between South Korea and the United States. While there, he reaffirmed Washington's alliance with Seoul against North Korea's nuclear threats. But according to the chief of the IAEA, who's also in town, Pyongyang might not be ready to give up its nukes anytime soon. Hwang Ji-hye has the details.
Seoul and Washington are looking to build up their alliance towards what they're calling a new frontier. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Tony Blinken sat down with South Korean Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se on Tuesday to go over the agenda for President Park Geun-hye's upcoming summit with President Barack Obama and to reinforce cooperation against a possible rocket launch by the North.
With the latest threats coming from Pyongyang, we've reaffirmed our alliance and readiness, which is stronger than ever. We realize the importance of preventive diplomacy to rein in North Korea from taking such action. But if it carries out a provocation, we'll jointly counter the situation in a very stern and firm manner.
Citing Iran as an example of how the U.S. is willing to negotiate, Blinken encouraged Pyongyang to give up its nuclear ambitions and to return to the six-party talks.
And we are united with the United States and South Korea, but also, I believe, with Japan. We've had conversations with Russia and with China, and all feel strongly that not only should North Korea not take this step, but it must return to meaningful efforts at denuclearization.
But Pyongyang may not be so close to compromising its nuclear ambitions. Visiting Seoul for talks with Foreign Minister Yoon, IAEA Chief Yukiya Amano told reporters that the agency detected suspect activities at North Korean nuclear facilities.
We have observed the activities at Yongbyon that coincide with the North Korean declaration to expand their activities. We have observed discharge of waters or transportation of equipment to the facility, and some indications of operation of the 5-megawatt reactors. But as we do not have the inspectors on the ground, we cannot say for sure.
Amano added that not being able to have IAEA inspectors on the ground in the north is a major concern for a nuclear watchdog as it tries to verify any possible activities. Hwang Ji-hye, Arirang News.
North Korea has made fresh claims about its military prowess ahead of a key political anniversary this weekend. In a program aired Monday, it showed off an intercontinental ballistic missile and a new cruise ship and sought to legitimize its previous rocket launches. Connie Kim reports.
North Korea aired a 30-minute special program on Monday, boasting about its military might and its ability to miniaturize nuclear bombs. The program, broadcast ahead of a key political anniversary this weekend, was also aimed at justifying the legitimacy of the regime's previous rocket launches. It claimed past launches and those in the future are merely aimed at putting satellites into orbit. The program also showed the North's KN-08 intercontinental ballistic missile, while pointing out that North Korea has conducted 3 nuclear tests. The narration also made an ominous threat to the U.S.
The historic experiment helped us produce miniaturized atomic bombs with great explosive power. They will target the United States.
The program also displayed North Korea's newest cruise ship that was built on Kim Jong-un's personal orders, specifically to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the founding of North Korea's Workers' Party. According to the program, the 4-story, 3,500-ton cruise ship can hold up to 1,200 passengers. Experts say North Korea is using the propaganda broadcasts to promote Kim Jong-un and his late father's achievements ahead of the anniversary event.
North Korea is trying to promote the sophistication of its nuclear capabilities within and outside the regime in the run-up to its Workers' Party anniversary ceremony this Saturday.
Analysts add it's highly unlikely that North Korea will conduct a rocket launch this week, given that there are no signs that preparations for an imminent launch are underway. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Stores across Korea are bustling with shoppers taking advantage of the Korea Grand Sale, which has been dubbed the country's Black Friday. Now, the country's biggest department stores are expanding their discounts with additional reductions that will cut prices by up to 90%. Starting Thursday, Lotte department store will slash prices on products ranging from household goods to high-end fashion brands. Shinsegae and Hyundai department stores have also joined the move to give extra discounts. Demand for renewable energy is on the rise worldwide. More than a fifth of renewables contributed to total energy consumption last year alone. And with growing concerns over energy security and climate change, the industry is only expected to grow further. Our Kwon So-hwa helps us find out where Korea stands in this energy race.
What appears to be an ordinary convenience store at first glance is fully equipped with eco-friendly devices. Solar panels on the roof, the #1 source of renewable energy in Korea, and a system that ensures that energy is distributed evenly, whether to the refrigerators, the air conditioner, or the LED lights. Solar energy is absorbed throughout the day to keep the convenience store running at night. And leftover energy is stored in this energy storage system for later use. This way, up to 30% of the energy can be saved. That system, along with another one that helps monitor how much energy is consumed and when and how it's used, lets the store cut its carbon footprint by 30% and reduce its electricity fees by 23%.
Convenience stores are open 24 hours. The signs outside, the lights inside are on all the time. That's why we wanted a way to cut energy waste.
Microgrid technology, a convergence of renewables and IT, makes it possible for buildings to produce, use, and save energy as they wish.
With ideas like these, Korea is following the global trend toward boosting its use of renewable energy. Last year, global renewable energy consumption levels rose to more than 20% for the first time ever. Investment in the sector jumped last year too. Korea, however, doesn't contribute much to that, as it's at the very bottom of the OECD when it comes to renewable energy production.
The number of renewable energy plants in Korea is growing rapidly, and there will be tangible growth in the amount of renewable energy use between 2020 and 2025.
And that should help Korea reach its target of reducing its greenhouse gas emissions by 37% by 2030. Kwon So-hwa, Arirang News.
Moving on to other stories, representatives from Korea and 4 developing countries shared their experiences with moving toward gender equality at a seminar that got started in Seoul today. The event echoes a pledge by President Park Geun-hye last month to expand health and education aid for girls in developing countries. Our Lee Soo-hun was there. She brings us this report.
Last month at the UN General Assembly, President Park Geun-hye promised $200 million of official development assistance toward efforts to empower women and girls in developing countries. The pledge is part of the president's plan to export Korea's know-how on economic and social development, in line with the UN's Millennium Development Goals.
And here in Seoul, a workshop to share Korea's own experiences with improving gender equality is taking place, with the objective of strengthening gender policy infrastructure of the 4 participating Asia-Pacific nations.
The visiting representatives from Cambodia, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Vietnam are hoping to return home after this 3-day seminar with new strategies. The event, hosted by the Korean Women's Development Institute, will focus on Korea's history with gender equality, its current policies, and the obstacles to women's empowerment.
It is not like there's just one-way giving, but just interaction between the Korea and the 4 our partner countries. So like a mutual learning and mutual sharing, mutual cooperation.
Korean women now enjoy more opportunities than ever, but women's rights in Korea still have a long way to go. And ironically, it's for that reason that Korea can serve as a model for developing countries as they too move toward gender equality. Lee-Soo-in, Arirang News.
A group of foreigners who study the Korean language and culture in their home countries is in Seoul to mark Hangul Day, which is this coming Friday and celebrates the Korean alphabet. The 149 members will take part in a week-long program that's organized by the Culture Ministry, the King Sejong Institute Foundation, and Arirang TV, the station you're watching. The program will take them to cultural sites in Korea, where they will have a chance to experience Korean folk games, food, and music. Some of the participants will also take part in a Korean speech contest. The event kicked off with a ceremony in the capital earlier today. The participants are the top students of the King Sejong Institute, a Korean language school with over 100 branches in 54 countries. Thousands of people are in Korea's southern port city of Busan for one of the largest film festivals in Asia. But according to our Kim Ji-yeon, the Busan International Film Festival is not just about the glitz and glamour of stars, fans, and good movies. For some, it's a golden opportunity to inch closer to their dreams. Take a look.
Young, aspiring filmmakers have a lot to look forward to at this year's Busan International Film Festival, or BIF. That's because the festival's Asian Film Academy invited some of the world's most talented filmmakers, including Singaporean director Anthony Chen. His debut film, Ilo Ilo, won Cannes' most prestigious Gummy d'Or Prize in 2013. The movie plot centers on the inseparable bond between a 10-year-old Singaporean boy and his Filipina nanny.
It's indeed, inspired by a lot of childhood memories, a lot of people who crossed my life when I was growing up, in Singapore. The film is set in 1997 during the massive Asian financial crisis. And, I think with most first films, with most debut features, it's always good to go to the personal, to tell a story about what you know, and that was what I did.
Chen says BIF is one of the most important events for Asian filmmakers like him because it brings them together.
This is where a lot of young Asian filmmakers are nurtured, are discovered early in their careers. This is where you meet some of the top distributors from across Asia. This is where filmmakers from all around the region, that's where we hang out.
Chen says Asian filmmakers have a unique sort of sensitivity in their films compared to their Western counterparts. Their expressions are more restrained and delicate, but underneath it belies a certain rigor which underscores the beauty of cinema. It is this quality Chen hopes to bring out of Asian filmmakers he's mentoring at the Asian Film Academy this year.
I think it's very important to stay true to your heart, to always make films that you want to make films from here, and not make films because you're being forced, by the market or by producers or by companies to make certain compromises. I think that's the way Asian filmmakers can play at the top of the game and really be up there on the global stage.
The next film produced by Chen, called Distance, premieres next month. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Now it's time for international news headlines. Our Bruce Harrison joins us from the News Center.
Today's focus: NATO blasts Russia over its military campaign in Syria. Roughly 8,000 refugees continue to flood into Europe daily, and scientists credited with expanding our understanding of the universe win the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Well, first of all, Bruce, tensions between Russia and Western government are at their highest level since Moscow started bombing Syria last week. We understand that unlike lightning, Russia strikes twice.
That's correct, Daniel. Well, apparently, NATO member Turkey now claims Russian jets violated its airspace for a second time. This is further complicating the military campaigns of the U.S. and Russia in Syria. Moscow said the first violation was an accident. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg isn't buying it. We have more from our Kwon Jong-ho.
Russia's defense ministry was quick to offer an explanation for the warplanes that violated Turkish airspace on Saturday.
The incident is the result of unfavorable weather conditions in the region. There is no need to look for conspiracy theories here.
The Turkish Prime Minister confirmed in a television interview on Monday that Russia had been in contact over the incident and promised it would never happen again. But the BBC is reporting that Turkey has summoned the Russian ambassador a second time after another airspace violation on Sunday. The NATO Secretary General called the incident unacceptable, adding that Russia's actions were not contributing to the security and stability of the region. US Secretary of State John Kerry has also expressed his dismay.
Had Turkey responded under its rights, could have resulted in a shoot-down, and it is precisely the kind of thing that we warned against.
There are also further concerns, as reports of Russian mercenaries in Syria are starting to surface. Doing little to dispel this rumor, the chairman of Russia's Parliamentary Defense Committee said volunteer Russian forces who had fought in eastern Ukraine could appear alongside the Syrian army. In an interview with Interfax news agency, he said they could not be stopped and intimated that money could be their motivation. Tensions have been running high after Russia waded into the Syrian conflict last week, carrying out dozens of airstrikes so far. Although they have claimed to be targeting Islamic militants and al-Qaeda groups, more Western-backed rebel forces are reported to have been hit. For now, the US has continued to support rebel forces fighting against the regime of Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad, but there are no signs yet that they have any plans to put boots on the ground. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
The growing conflict in Syria is driving more and more people to flee the country. The United Nations Refugee Agency warns the influx of refugees into Europe may be only the tip of the iceberg. The agency is urging governments in Europe to work together to end the civil war there to prevent larger numbers of people from moving. Just today, 3,500 refugees arrived in Greece by ship.
Of course, you know, I don't know what will happen next. You know, I'm at the beginning of my journey. You know, I have to cross maybe Croatia or Hungary, and then I don't know what will happen.
Many have done just that and eventually crossed the so-called open border between Austria and Germany. The European Union continues to reel from its biggest refugee influx since World War II, most coming from war-torn countries such as Syria and Iraq. The Nobel Committee for Physics says the work of this year's winners is expected to change the way humans view the universe.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has decided to award the 2015 Nobel Prize in Physics to Takaaki Kajita and Arthur B. MacDonald for the discovery of neutrino oscillations, which shows that neutrinos have mass.
Their research is seen as groundbreaking for particle physics. The two men will split a nearly $1 million prize. The Nobel Awards were founded in 1901 in accordance with the will of business tycoon Alfred Nobel, and today the categories include chemistry, literature, peace, physics, physiology, or medicine. Takaaki and MacDonald are in good company. Other winners in physics include Marie Curie and Albert Einstein. And that's a glimpse of the world today. Have a good night.
Hello, I'm Hwang Ji-hye with the latest weather updates.
Despite the early morning and late night chill, we're still enjoying warm afternoons under clear blue skies. And tomorrow will be a repeat of today's lovely fall weather, along with the big temperature gaps across the nation. And inland regions could wake up to a foggy morning, so take caution out on the roads. And the sun will be out, but clouds are also expected to move in by mid-afternoon. And taking a closer look at the readings for tomorrow, the low in Seoul will start at 14 before jumping up to 26. In fact, Daegu and Gwangju will see a high of 26 as well, while Busan getting up to 24. And as for the other regions, Daejeon and Jeju Island will reach 26 and 24, while Dokdo peaks at 21. Now, we'll have a couple more days of warm afternoons. Highs are forecast to drop to the teens, with rain expected to fall all day long on Saturday in the upper parts of the country, including here in Seoul. That's all for the weather. Good night.
And that brings us to the end of our newscast. Thank you for staying with us.
Do tune in for more, same time tomorrow. Goodbye for now.